Hey guys, it's Verns here, back again with another Supercoach video. Look, as you can see, my mic is still up in front of my mouth and I'm holding it. We are at my partner's family's house still. Our housemates did get gastro, so we thought we'd maybe stay a few more days. We're not too sure if we'll just go back. We're figuring that out, but I thought I wanted to get my video out at least. And as you can see, we have a beautiful boy in the background being very sneaky. But yeah, let's jump into this. I hope the audio is okay this time. Look, my audio is being pretty cooked every time I'm trying to listen to this. So goal one is to try and make sure I am speaking up so that it is at least nice and loud. Look, I'll do my best here. If this doesn't run, then yeah, hopefully when I listen back to it, it just sounds fine. So yeah, as you can see, we got a 2490 for our round 17. Not good, honestly. We dropped 176 places, so now we're at 856. And honestly, I guess the theme of this round was it's not good, but it wasn't the worst. Like, I genuinely thought this was much worse, and I was going to drop probably out of the top 1,000, so I'm really glad that I didn't. We can see only the 3 league wins, so like, I saw players around me with honestly a lot bigger scores, and I just knew it wasn't a good week. A lot of things went wrong just in the sense of our pod premiums. Obviously, we're at the stage of the game where everyone has their premiums. And when I look at the top 1% of players, I have the top 17 players. At least I did until I moved on Dunkley. But saying that, yeah, a lot of my team, everyone else has. So there's only a few points of difference, 5, 6 of them. And that would be made up of like McRae, Libba. I brought in obviously Butters. We have Keys, Briggs, Day, Sheasel. I think those would be the 7 big points of difference. And as you can, if you do know how they went this week, at least 5 of those were not good. McRae, Butters, Keys, all basically 81. Keys technically got 82, but not good scores. We had other premiums that didn't get good scores, unfortunately, but since they're highly owned, it's not that big of a deal. Sheasel dropped like a 65, which was awful. Libba got a 75, which was super painful. Anyone that was topping up Libba and Petrarca, hopefully you went for track, because I mean, it's a lot more points right now, and I mean, I don't see track missing a beat, so it's going to be hard to make up that little bit of a difference. So yeah, those 5 were really poor for us. That's why I thought my week was going to be really bad, because my point of differences just didn't go well. But we had Day and Briggs who got the 107 apiece, which we do take. That's definitely something that we would be happy for them to get 107 for the rest of the season, from, you know, our our D6 and our R2. So like, yeah, honestly, that's why I'm saying it's bad, but it could have been worse, and I really am surprised it's not worse. We also didn't go for the Neil captain, which is very obvious to a lot of people, and you're probably thinking, Verns, that's nuts, why didn't you do it? If you did watch last week, obviously I explained I thought there was going to be a lot of points sharing between Brisbane, which would stop Neil from getting a massive score. But saying that, hindsight, once we do sort of reflect on the other teams that smashed West Coast, such as like Sydney, Sydney had like 3 players over 130, like 7 players that hit the ton. So even though those points sharing, all those players still got pretty massive scores. Gordon also got a 160 in that. So it was like, hindsight, reflecting on that, maybe that wasn't as big of a factor as I thought it would be. Looking at some of the stats that came out as well, Neil historically just beats down on West Coast, but this is a different Brisbane side. They have a lot more chefs in that kitchen now, so Neil doesn't have to do all the heavy lifting. So I thought maybe he wouldn't go as well as people think. I was kind of hoping for it, because I knew he was going to be in like 98% of the captain loops this week, and missing him with the 142 was super painful, especially because I ended up, I took Bont's VC originally, and that's why I didn't go for Neil. But once I just saw all these massive scores keep pumping out, obviously we had Dacos, we had Goulden, we saw Neil do well, and knowing everyone had Neil, I was like, man, I'm behind the 8 ball. All my pods are going poorly. McRae, Libra at that point, I was just like, I need to make a point of difference, and I have to hope for maybe a captain option that just goes bigger than this 123. So I took the risk and I took it off Bont. To be fair, Sunday morning rolled around and I actually kind of regretted it. I was like, oh man, maybe I don't want to go Bont. Actually, maybe I do want that score. Things could be worse. But my loops had already played their games at that stage, so I had to sort of just back in what I was going to do and go for Rory Laird. which honestly got a very lucky 117 because he was not on track for that. And I was feeling pretty scared early on he was going to get an awful score and it was going to really punish us. The 117, it's only 6 points behind Bont, so it's not the end of the world. Obviously, the right call in that game was Merritt, and Dawson also had not a bad game either, but not too much of a difference there. And yeah, so that was just a... Look, and that's why it could have been worse. Like, it could have been a lot worse because I think Laird was not on track for a good score. He's like 40 points at the half, and we just got lucky that he came out with a really big, like 50-point third quarter that managed to get him to this 117. The other thing that went really awful was obviously Butters. I was personally watching the Melbourne St Kilda game, but Butters, I don't know what was happening. When I was flicking over to the channel, I heard the commentators say he's spending more time forward. Now, what the commentators say isn't always statistically true, but I mean, at the time he was in the forward line, so that's why I think they mentioned it. He had low possessions, he had clangers, he had low efficiency, he was on track for a woeful game, and I was thinking, man, he's going to get a 40 to 60, and I've traded Dunkley for nothing, because it's not going to be any points positive here, and I've moved Dunkley on for hopefully a 2 weeks points grab, and it's going to backfire. He ends up getting to like the 81, as I said, so it wasn't the worst case scenario. He did get us 40 more points than what Marek would have got us. So I guess that's the other thing too. 40 points off my score, maybe I do drop out of that top K. So yeah, there was a lot of things that could have gone a lot worse. A lot of things that didn't go well. And that's why I was surprised that we did not lose too much ground on foot, fortunately. But let's jump into the team, look at it. Now, I'm not going to bother with every player. As I said, everyone has similar teams. I'm sure you've already heard it 50 times for all these players because I know I'm doing it on the Monday, which is a bit later. But I guess, as I said, my point of difference is we have the Sheasel there. We have the forward line, which was atrocious this week. Absolutely atrocious. I mean, the top three everyone has, so it's no problem. But the bottom three, painful. Marshall, massive score. Anyone that decided to put the C on him, damn. I wouldn't have personally done it into the Gaundy combo, but he had a massive game. Green had another down game, which is really unfortunate, but everyone owns. As I mentioned, Libba had a down game, and I don't really know what the factor was there. I don't know why he just wasn't involved this game. I know we got over the game and we ran over it in the third quarter. We started mounting back in the second quarter, and then we got the third quarter mount back and just ended up winning the game from there. Obviously, Bont had one very close shot on goal where massive tackle from Moore. If he kicks that, maybe he gets the 140 and I just take that VC score. But maybe that momentum changes the game and Collingwood lose. So, there's the yin and the yang there. I'm very happy Pies won, and you know what? I'll take it. I'll take the Pies win over, Bont with a few more points because I don't know. I'm just happy a Pies won, honestly. I thought this would be a really good game for Dogs because I know Pies have been restrictive this year with their midfielders, but historically, Dogs have gotten up on us in that first quarter and a half. It really did feel like, damn, it just doesn't seem to be our matchup. But then obviously we came roaring back. But even though Dogs were running over that game in the first quarter and a half, Libba wasn't doing anything. He literally wasn't doing anything. And then we obviously run away with it in the second half. And I'm almost surprised he got the 75. He just wasn't involved. Just crazy there in my opinion. Obviously Merritt was massive. Yeah, as I said, I'm not going to go over them all. Day 107, which is awesome. This is what I'm loving the look of right now, though. We have North into Hawthorn, so I think Sheasel should hopefully have a bounce back game there. Day should hopefully go big there. We know we're bringing in Sicily, so we're going to hopefully have a big game from him. He's going to be my captain option, honestly. I know I said it this week that I feel like North are better than West Coast. They can actually put down some offense, but then their entrances inside 50 aren't great. That's why I thought Stewart would probably feast, and he was originally my C. But then I did get scared of, a Malikan situation where they do run over North, and then he doesn't really get involved. And honestly, that was kind of happening, and until he moved up onto the ball in like the third quarter, it might have been. It might have been the fourth quarter, but he managed to get some junk time points and get to a decent enough score. So what was I saying? So yeah, we got Sicily going to come in, and I do think North will be a lot more competitive with Hawks. I think this will be a much closer game, and because of that, Sicily will feast on the North inside 50 attempts. As I said, I think Sheasel will have a better game. I'm honestly going to be looking at looping Sheasel with Keys this week because Keys spent no time in the center clearances. Look, he's a great center bounce player, and that's where he gets a lot of his points from, because he gets a lot of center bounce clearances. In this game, he played majority forward, and then second half, he was playing forward, but then pushing into stoppages, which is good, at least in that sense, but at the same time, he's not there for the original center clearance, which I think Keys is really strong at, and I think that's why he has been so good the last few weeks, because he's been in the center bounce where look, the disposal he gets is banging it on his boot 50 meters inside 50, which it's effective. It's maybe not the ideal way they want to go inside 50, but sometimes you don't need to go inside 50 clean every time. Sometimes it is as simple as a chaos ball inside 50, and it can create something. And it seems crazy to me that they were losing this game, and Keys, who's a great just clearance player, didn't get put on the ball. I was a bit surprised. Look, he did get put on the ball, but I was surprised he wasn't moved into the center bounce rotation. I think he could have really helped out Adelaide there, and probably helped out his Supercoach score a lot. But yeah, he scored 2 goals this week again, and he scored 2 goals again last week, so he's kind of relying on goals to keep him relevant at this stage. I would love to see him get more center bounces, but look, with that, it's a bit of a worrying trend that he has kind of regressed in the center bounces he's taking. So we were talking about Keys. Yeah, so Keys, worrying trend, not playing up on the center bounces. I don't like that, so I think we can move Sheasel down into the forward. It's not going to work, actually, unless Marek doesn't play. I was thinking we can move Sheasel into the forward and loop him with Keys, but the problem is Marek would have to not be named then if that's the case. So if Marek doesn't get named, great, we can loop Sheasel and Keys. If not, then unfortunately we can't. And Sheasel and Day obviously can't be looped this week. I could always maybe look at... No, that's not going to work, because I want to play Day on field. I'd probably just tank Sheasel on the bench then if that's the case. But if not, maybe we loop him with Keys. We'll figure that out in the week. No rush to worry about that now. But yeah, that's at least the plan. I'll show you what the plan is, I guess, with the trades. We talked about Melican out and Johnson out. Something I actually want to show you guys real quickly. Obviously, we moved Dunkley down and we banked like 80k. This week, if I didn't move Dunkley, I needed 30k out of Melican and out of Johnson. Melican's made 15, so I just need 15 more out of Johnson, and he made 9. I wouldn't have been able to actually get Sicily this week if I didn't go down from Dunkley the Butters. So Dunkley the Butters was not only just a was not just a points grab for hopefully the 2 weeks. It also means that I get Sicily, which is going to be a points grab probably for the rest of the season. I mean, yeah, that's going to be massive. So yeah, hopefully we kind of want Dunkley to miss the second week. We don't want him to be, he's a great player. We obviously don't want him to be injured worse than what he is. But if he is injured and they want to take it safe and rest him a little bit longer, cool. That's better for us if he misses a second week. If he comes back and underperforms, that's the only other, I guess, case scenario that would be all right for us. Other than that, we could get absolutely punished on death riding Dunkley home. We're death riding Oliver when he comes back with Death Road English all season, and we are not death riding Sicily. He is coming in because this man is on an absolute tear, and I love what he's doing. So yeah, Melican's going to go out. Johnson is going to go out. And we are going to go to average because Sicily will come flying up the chain, go to defense. And there he is, James Sicily. Boom. Then coming in for us, we need to bring a player in that is not playing to work with our loop. So we're going to do this, and we're going to throw the money all the way down. There should be a West Coast player down here, I believe, with the DPP I want. All right, we want to move Constable into the forward line as well, and then boom. And what this allows us to do, guys, like this is pretty dope for us in the sense that we now have the flexibility to be moving people like Day around. We can move Day into the middle, and that means that he can cover us in the middle if anything goes wrong. We have our loopholes on the bench as well, so we can easily loop Day and Sheasel for the rest of the season if we want. As I mentioned, Sheasel's probably just because they're playing at the same time, just going to sit on the bench at this stage. I mean, technically I could loop someone else, but it's just, I think, a bit unnecessary. I just think, I mean, I could technically look at looping Sinclair, who has had a few down games this season. Could always put him on the bench and look at looping him on if I need. Bringing in this loop with the DPP works really well too, just in the sense that Look, I do have to technically hit trades for this to work, but say I hit trades, we move Constable up, we move Davey up. That means we can loop Sheasel into the forward line and use him as a loop, and then we can still bring the player into the back line here. And then that's how that works loophole-wise. So we can get Sheasel into the forward, so we have cover for the forward line, cover for the midfield, and cover for defense. Now, obviously, if we do this, then it's just a bit awkward in the sense that we have to obviously move them back around this way to get comfortable into the middle to then be able to move him with Day and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll have basically Sheasel to cover every line but Rucks, so hopefully the Rucks can hold up for the rest of the year. Because that's the only line that if someone goes down, I just sort of have to trade, unfortunately. But yes, that's a really good cover, so we're really happy with that. We get players in that we want. We get non-playing players so we can loophole really nicely. Sicily comes in. I think he is a banger captain option. I think he's 140 plus this week at least. I'm so keen for Sicily to just feast and be a huge pod for us. Obviously, a lot of people did hold Sicily, but we did bounce him in and out of the team to get some points grabbed here. Hopefully, Sicily coming into the team, our pod premiums may be stepping up again this week. We can have another monster score and get moving back up that rank. That's at least the plan here. But yeah, I guess that's how everything's looking here, guys. We're not going to run the emergency there. We're just going to put on Fletcher just in case. Yeah, team looks pretty good. Team is now 100% complete. Yes, we have the one trade left, but that's okay in my opinion. We have some, honestly, pretty elite premiums in most lines. Day can be a bit up and down as to why we're going to be using him as a loop. With Sicily back, maybe he doesn't swing back and get as many cheap points in the back line as he was, but if he plays up on the ball, we're not unhappy with that. Shields could tag him from North. Definitely could see that happening, which would be a little bit disappointing. These guys did play earlier in the season, and Shield did tag him, did he not? No, he did not. Round 3, he went massive. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets the Shield tag this time to stop that from happening. But yeah, I think Sicily is just an absolute banger captain option for us. So that's why I'm going to look at Sicily here. Vice captain, honestly, Bont seems pretty fine to me. I mean, there's not really any outstanding options. I'm pretty sure Merritt has always historically done well. Has he done well to Geelong? I feel like for some reason in my head he has. Nope, he hasn't. Yeah, captain. I mean, look, we have plenty of players in our team to run captain options, so there's nothing to worry about. I guess you can look at players in the Melbourne-Brisbane game if you really want. I don't know if there's any Collingwood player into Freo I'd want specifically, and Collingwood do restrict points, so probably nobody in this game. Maybe Sean Darcy if you guys want to put a VC on him. Gold Coast into St Kilda. Nobody really here that stands out. Maybe you could go for a cheeky Sinclair, a bit more of a variance player there to try and get a bigger score. Carlton and Port. Carlton have been giving up points. Maybe you could look for the risky Rosie or Butters. I don't know. I think it's pretty good this week that, once again, we have Sicily. We have a safe captain option playing late, so we can play a more risky VC option because I'm very confident in Sicily's ability to go massive here. So yeah, I'll probably do something wacky with the VC, try and maybe get a crazy points grab from an unexpected premium. But honestly, if they're probably not going at least 135 plus, there's a chance I just bank in Sicily because I just feel like he's going 140. Like you just feel that. And he will be a pod for us in this top 1%, and he'll be a difference maker as a pod. So yeah, I've rambled on enough, guys. Thanks for tuning in as always. I really appreciate that. Thanks for liking, subscribing, just being here. I'm sorry I waffled so long. I always manage to waffle and make these videos much longer than they need to be. But I guess I didn't have to. But I did talk about my point of differences a bit more than I normally would, just because they were outliers this week. They really did stand out. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I appreciate it. I'll go check the audio. Hopefully it's good. If it is not, I'm going to be pretty sad and I'm going to worry about this another day. But till then, peace, later.